actually. So I am the kind of person, I am your worst nightmare. I'm the kind of person, I've got like 4 books, 4 notebooks, and they've all got different things in them. I try and take the right one to the right meeting, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Yes.
Like
I can relate to that.
Yeah. So
when I said I was an organized mess, those were the kind of things that I was also doing.
But I know those books make sense to me. And I think in all of those books, they all have a little to-do list. Maybe it's because if I only pick one book up and open it, that's the thing I focus on for that day. I'm not sure.
Well, that's a positive, yes. And that's the other thing. If it's working for you, if it's not causing you trouble, or you're not forgetting something because you wrote it in one notebook instead of another notebook, that's okay.
Yeah. Yes, do, because everybody's unique, aren't they? Everyone's individual.
Yes.
And how it works for each person is very different.
Yes.
I'm sitting here thinking about being an organized mess, because a lot of people would say, if they were asked about my business, they think I'm very organized. So I must be like the swan swimming, or the duck swimming. And underwater, it's all like crazy pattern. Right. But I've got, so this is another thing that I do, right? I have my office and my desk. And sometimes there's just so much stuff on my desk, I take my laptop and work in the dining room. I'm kind of away from it all. It's all in the other room. I did have somebody that came in and it organized everything for me. It was really funny. It was a slight misunderstanding, because I said to her, I want to get more organized in my business. And I kind of meant online and my Dropbox folders and everything. And she organized literally all my paper folders and files for me. And it all looked very beautiful. I thought I would use those anyway.
They're too pretty to use.
Oh dear. So I think yes, if anything happened to me and someone came in to take over my business, I don't think they would have the first clue where to start. But I know where everything is. And I understand all the things that are happening next.
And again, you know what? I feel like if it doesn't impede on you getting what you need to get done, completed, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Good. Glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
On your website, so what's the URL for your website again, Jac?
It's jacjulian.com.
Yeah, so I was looking at it before we came on air, and I really like, you've got these little 1-minute video clips.
Thank you.
About productivity, so I like those. I think, did you say something about stop looking at more tools? What do you think about productivity tools? Not a lot.
Yes. For some people, they can really take time away from what they need to do.
Yes, that's how I feel.
Yeah. There's so many tools out there.
Yeah.
And some of them are great for some people, and others, just get like a time stuck. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about there's some like to-do list type of tools, apps, where you join a team and then you play a game.
Oh.
Like, so when you complete tasks and stuff, and you have to complete your tasks so you don't let the team down.
Oh, wow.
Which is a great idea. And for some people that might work. But for me, I tend to get a little bit of addicted to those games.
Like
I'm either going to lie and say I got it done so I can play.
Oh, wow.
Or I'm going to do a really crappy job so I can cross it off my list.
Oh, that's, so I know I have used Trello in the past.
Okay, yep.
17 Hats.
Okay.
And a CRM system called Insightly. I've used all of those. There's an app on my phone called Todoist.
Okay, that's a big one.
And then there's just so many out there, and they have their cheerleaders, and those people will swear by them to everybody.
Yes.
Whereas actually, what I've reverted to now, and it's quite simple, is a Google spreadsheet, where I have literally a list of stuff to follow up with, and I just color code the red ones that are urgent. And this is as well as my notebooks, by the way. And I have a task list in my Gmail account as well.
Okay.
I just have lists everywhere, but it does work for me. So I think there's almost too many tools.
Yes.
And there's people who are such huge advocates of them. It's very easy to get distracted. And then you go off and you set up this whole, like, when I first found Trello, I thought it was, it is very nice to look at. And there were other people doing webinars on here's how to use Trello and get organized. And it all looks so beautiful. And I started like creating all my bits and pieces on Trello. And then I was just like, this is taking me more time than my work.
Right.
So it wasn't very productive at all in the end.
No. And that can be a problem.
Yeah. So are there any productivity tools that you do recommend?
I recommend whatever works for you. I try to keep mine really simple. My biggest tool that I love is alarms and notifications.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
So I like to set, I have a ton of alarms on my phone and notifications on my Google Calendar.
Okay.
So, because one of the things that I've found happens for us is, we were getting together to record this podcast.
Yes.
So maybe a half hour before, I'm like, oh, okay, I got a half hour. And, I continue working. Or I kind of sit there and then I watch the clock. So I'm not really focusing on what I need to focus on. So I kind of used double notifications. So I got a notification about 15 minutes before we were supposed to meet to tell me, you need to finish up what you're doing. And then another one 5 minutes before our meeting to say, you need to stop now because you need to get ready for the podcast.
Yes.
And then I don't think about it.
Yeah, because you know that's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And would you, if you had a project that you were working on, so say, for example, I'm attempting to write a blog a week and I'm not doing too badly at it. But would you say, well, okay, Louise, if you're going to write a blog post this week, you've got 2 hours to come up with the whole thing and write it, and then after the alarm's going to go off and you're going to stop. Would you recommend that kind of thing or not?
Would that motivate you to get it done?
Well, interestingly, one of the things that I found that works for me, and Kate Erickson was on the podcast early on, and she talked about getting stuff done in the mornings, getting a bit earlier and doing stuff in the mornings. And I find I get up, I set the alarm about 20 minutes before my family get up, and I come downstairs, and sometimes I will use that to write for 10 minutes. And sometimes I use it to do yoga. But I find that, organizing myself in short bursts of time works better for me.
Okay.
But then sometimes if I'm just in the zone and I'm writing, I'll just keep going. So,
So, it kind of depends. I'm kind of the opposite. I like to work in huge chunks of time.
Okay.
So when I need to do something and I need to do a little bit here and a little bit there, like when my kids were young, that was a struggle for me. So, but there's times when I will play beat the clock, right? Like, here we go. We have this much time and I need to get this done. So let's see if I can, do it before the alarm goes off.
And that really comes back to your psychology background, doesn't it? Because I actually think I perform better when I'm under time pressure.
A lot of people do. We're kind of trained that way.
Trained that way? Do you think that's the way we've been raised then?
Well, in some ways, a lot of us, sometimes we get rewarded in some ways for, like when we're in college or high school or university, I guess, over there.
Yeah.
We burn the midnight oil, write a paper, turn it in, and we still get a good grade on it.
Oh, well, I see. That's so funny because at university, I would not cope with that at all.
No, you'd write them early?
Yeah, I would. Yes, nice. I'd go to the library and get it done.
Impressive.
Yeah, I could not. Well, I suppose part of that is because maybe that's an evening thing. after we finish recording this, I will do no work tonight because I don't work in the evening. So at university, that would have killed me. I couldn't have done that.
Oh, well, okay. So then you didn't get that benefit. So the other aspect, though, is also the idea of I can't remember what I'm trying to say now, but the like sort of, I don't want to call it necessarily adrenaline, but that, our body chemicals are going to go kind of spike when we have that time crunch.
Yeah.
And so if we hit the right amount, that it actually is going to motivate us to work harder.
Yes.
Now, if we get too much of it, then we're just going to be frenetic. If we get too little, we're not motivated to do it at all.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? And I think some of my best work, I think I've done when I've just said, right, Louise, you need to get this done, out and done. And sometimes if I don't have any time pressure, like the university thing doesn't really play out for me because I'm just not an evening person, but I do get that, having to get things done and handed in on time. People just get it, deliver it in time. But I suppose if I'm work, because I work in the mornings really from when my kids are at school, and if I think, right, you need to get this done, especially if it's for somebody else, like a guest blog or something for somebody else, then I just really focus and put everything else aside and just get it done. And actually that can be some of my best work. Whereas when you're keeping to yourself and the only person you're delivering it for is yourself. Well, I know you're delivering it for your audience, but if I'm my own boss, sometimes that doesn't really work as well for me. So I think I need to set up my alarms and notifications like you have.
Well, and that's the other thing. We're used to deadlines when we're in the corporate world, when we're in school, or even things for our kids' school, right? You have a deadline. This is the deadline. You have to get it done or you don't, once in a while you can slide by. But in business, those are arbitrary deadlines.
Yes. Yeah. Because
we set them, so sometimes it's hard for us to follow them.
So we can push them too. Yeah. Well, so that's funny because at the minute I'm so when this is live, it will already have happened. At the minute, I'm running free training on how to create your first online course. And it's a 3-part video series. And I've done, people have got the second video. And I have created the slides for the third video, but I have not recorded it. But I'm completely relaxed about that because I know I will get it done tomorrow because it has to be done tomorrow.
Right.
So my pressure on myself, actually, I'm very calm about it because I know I'll get it done because it needs to be done. That's good. So maybe I should have more time pressures on myself. I'd be so amazingly productive.
You would.
Oh dear. Jack, do you ever get, what would you say has been the biggest challenges in your business so far?
Oh, some of the biggest challenges. Growing an audience can be challenging, I think.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. It's putting ourselves out there is scary. Where does my audience hang out? Right? I heard that a lot when I was starting my business. Well, go where your audience hangs out. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, if I knew that, I'd already have a business.
Right. So, there's a lot of trial and error, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think you find people more as you grow as well.
Yes.
For definite. Do you find do you meet many clients, not to work with in person, but do you go to events or networking events or anything and meet people there that turn into clients?
I admit I have been slacking on going to networking events. I've got 2 kids, and so sometimes it's hard to travel.
Yeah.
My husband also teaches school, and so he can't just, take off a day or 2 here. No. But in your local town, would there be business networking or anything? I live in a fairly small town.